This is why 95 to 99% of traders, they fail, and how you can use it to your advantage and win. I've been trading for almost 6 years and I didn't realize these 3 mistakes before I was 1.5 years in. From there on out, it took me 6 months to become profitable, and well, I've never looked back ever since. So if you're struggling with profitability, this video is for you. What I'm about to tell you will change your life if you implement it correctly. So if you're serious about trading, you want to watch this whole video to the end. This will be the 3 pillars to your success in trading. So let's get started. Let's head on over to me in first class.
Alright guys, so the first psychology trick is something that, well, 99% of traders never ever think about, because they always think about that one win. So let me break it down. Let's put this here. So in trading, it's about seeing the bigger picture. And the reason why 95% of the traders fail is because they cannot see the bigger picture. More importantly, they cannot move towards the bigger picture. So in this first psychology hack, I'm gonna tell you exactly how you should look at every one of your trades and what you should aim for. All right, so right here, I have a bottom cap, right? And we're just gonna pretend that this is a coin. So if this was a coin, it would have a theoretical 50-50 chance of landing on one side or the other, like if I flip it, right? So one side that's 50% and the other side that if it didn't fall on the ground, that will be also 50%, right? But when you flip this twice, you can hit the same side 2 times. So if I flip this, that was the one side, and it hit that side again, right? But it had a 50-50% chance of hitting either side. So it should hit one side and then the other side. But that's not how probabilities work. It's basically about having enough data. Like if you need to play out the probability, you cannot play out a probability with only 5 points of data or 10 points of data. So let's say a one throw here is a point of data. I cannot play out this probability by only throwing twice. But if I throw it 10 times, there's a greater chance for this hitting 5 times on this side and 5 times on the other side. But if you throw this 10 times, you can hit the one side 10 times in a row. That is possible. It's a lower probability, but it is possible. And you probably play casino and you've seen a train of blacks, like blacks 7 times for 8 times or 9 times in a row. It's the same concept. But if you throw this 50 times, there will be a higher chance this hitting one side 25 times, another side 25 times. It's probably gonna be like 22 on one side, 28 on the other side, or vice versa. The more data you have, the more chances you take, the more the probability will play to your favor. And in trading, it's the exact same. So you cannot figure out whether your strategy is profitable or not, which is the ultimate goal, of course, to have a profitable strategy that has proven over time to be profitable and that gives you a higher return than what you lose. And this is where most traders, they fail. They cannot see the bigger picture because they look at every trade like the single trade that should win. So they try something new, some new strategy they have found online, some new observation that they have made in the market, and then they try it twice and it goes the wrong way twice. And then they conclude in their mind that this doesn't work because they look at trading the wrong way. And I'm gonna get to what a good trade is and what a bad trade is later, but they look at trading like that one trade should win. And they look at trading like they need to have a strategy that wins 100% of the time. Even though they tell themselves that I'm okay with not winning 100% of the time. But again, if they lose 5 times in a row, they get emotional overburden and then they switch strategy and then they try something new. And then they repeat this vicious cycle because their feelings get the best of them. And they think that there's something wrong with the strategy, there's something wrong with the market, there's something wrong with the pair they're trading on. But in reality, they do not have enough data to back up their conclusion. So this is what you should do. You should find an observation in the market and then you should play it out, not 5 times, not 10 times, not 20 times, not 30 times, not 40, not 50 times, but 100 times and more. Yes, it's boring work. You have to put in the work, you have to backtest your strategy, you have to forward test your strategy while the market moves. And in every trade that you don't follow your rules, you scratch that off the board and then you keep going until you hit 100 trades where you have followed your rules. Once you have 100 trades where you have followed your rules, now you can see whether what you've been doing has been profitable or not. And you might have chosen a risk to reward of 1 to 5, 1 to 2, and that's another thing. You should never choose different risk to reward levels because then you cannot figure out if your strategy works, because then you keep changing up your rules. And it's equivalent to trying a new strategy when you change the risk to reward ratio. So you should uniform this risk to reward, which basically means you have to have the same risk to reward at all times. But once you have 100 trades, then you can see whether the rules you have set for yourself works or not. You can take the concept that you have used and then you can test out different risk to reward ratios. So you can see, okay, I wasn't profitable on 100 trades that went 1 to 3, but I was very profitable on 100 trades if all these trades went 1 to 1 or 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 2. That way you can tweak your strategy. And this way, if you look at trading, like every trade is 1 out of 100, this will eliminate all your fear. Because one of the reasons that we take bad trades is because we think that the trade that we're going to take right now is going to win. That fucks with our emotions, makes us change our rules, makes us micromanage our trades, and doing all the stuff that we shouldn't do. But if you look at the one trade you take, like it's 1 out of 100, you don't care whether it's going to flop or not, because you see the bigger picture. So this is the first hack for you guys. Look at every trade like 1 out of 100, and once you have taken 100, if you're not profitable, don't be sad, because you could just tweak this, analyze all the 100 trades, and figure out what you should have done differently. And then you figure out, okay, all of these trades were profitable if I had done this instead of this. And once you have these 100 trades in, and you see that the rules you have created for yourself actually is profitable, that removes all fear. And this is where that you can scale trading to the infinite. But most people are not willing to do this. They keep chasing the easy money, the copy trading groups, the crypto bots, all this stuff that looks good on the outside. But in reality, it's just a bunch of bullshit that will never take you anywhere. So you gotta be able to put in the work, the boring work, sitting hours and hours and hours, test your stuff. Because trading is the absolute only business model where you can actually test out whether your business works or not before putting any money into it. So yeah, this is what you should do. Look at every trade. This is a trade, like 1 out of 100, and then you can test it. Then you can figure out whether you're profitable or not. And then you can tweak it if you're not. And if you are, you can also tweak it. You can make it better. You can always make it better. So if you want to go somewhere in trading, this is what you got to do. Plain simple. All right, off to the next psychology hack. Bye.
All right, guys, so this is a second mistake, and this is what 99% of the population of traders think is a bad trade versus what the top 1% of all traders knows is a good trade. And you're gonna wanna know this, because if you don't know this and you don't take this into account, you're never gonna be a profitable trader. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. All right, so in order to become a profitable trader, we have to deviate from everything that society has ever taught us. So let's go back to kindergarten. So when you stole your friend's paint or their Barbie doll, there was a consequence. The teacher, the grown-up, they punished you. They said you weren't allowed to do that. That was wrong of you. Later on, when you went to high school, you got a bad grade. Your grade was lower than your fellow classmates. It was a B, C, D minus, whatever metric you guys use. Then you did something wrong. You made a bad assignment. You had to do something over and you have to make it better. Right? There was a consequence. You did something wrong and there was a consequence. Then in university or at your job, every time you did something wrong, there was a consequence. You would be fired. You would have a cut in pay. You would have some kind of consequence because you did something wrong and you should do something right. You should do it in another way, in the right way. Now in trading, it's not like that, because you can actually lose money and have a really good day. And this sounds pretty f***ed up, I know. But hang on here for a second. So the way most people, they look at trading is that they need to win. In order for you to be a good trader, you have to win. And 99% of the population, if they see that you lose a trade, they think you did something wrong. And if they do that themselves, they think that they did something wrong. But that's not a reality here. They could have done something 100% correct and still lost money. Now let me explain. So in the first part, I talked about the bigger picture. I talked about what trading is and how you cannot decide whether your strategy is good or bad just based on a few coin flips. So in trading, it's all about having an edge. And this edge is based on probability. What do I mean by this? Well, you need to make more trading than you lose. It is inevitable to lose when you trade. And that's what you need to get through your thick skull. It's inevitable to lose. The key is to lose less than you win. This is what goes really wrong when people, they start out. So they think that trading is something where there's just a pattern that they need to follow and therefore make money. And well, it is kind of like that, a pattern that you need to follow within some specific rules that you have tested out, etc., etc. But new traders, they think that there's some kind of pattern. They watch a YouTube video, see someone explain this pattern. They go into the chart, they find the pattern, they're like, oh, this works. They put the money into the broker and then they start trading with their own money. They're not aware of the risk associated with trading, not yet, because they have no idea what they're doing, right? They're new in this world. And this is a world that you cannot be known in if you haven't been in it. So you don't have any reference points to trading when you start out with trading because it's so different from everything that we've ever been taught. All right, so this is what happens. They put their money to a broker, and then they immediately start trading with their own money. This is where they get into the beginner's luck stage because they try something out and they make money. You probably made a lot of money when they start on trading. You probably made a lot of money on your demo account. It looked easy. You made a lot of money, but you weren't aware of the risk implications. You move on and you see this works. And then you think for yourself, oh, if I had just risked a little more. Ooh, if I had just put a little more money in. Ooh, if I had done this instead, I would have made this. Then you do it again. Then what happens? Your account goes into minus. And you have not seen this before because you took out a profit in the last trade, in the last 2 trades or whatever. So what you do is you hold on to this account. You're like, I cannot exit this position because I cannot afford to lose these $200, $300, $400, $500, whatever it is. And then you hold on to this losing trade and it goes minus 200, 300, 400, and then it goes back up to break even and your heart is in your throat and you get out of it, maybe with a bit in profit. And then you start reinforcing this loop that you should just hold on to losing trades because then it won't be losing trades. Now what happens is, next time you trade, this happens again, or the next time, or whatever, sometime along the way in your beginner stage, you hold on to losing trade again, and you don't have a stop loss, whatever, you lose your whole account. Now this loss is devastating to you. It's a loss, right? You've lost your whole account, you've lost your saving, you've lost whatever you could put in the market, $200, $300, $400, $500, which is equivalent to you a lot of hours at work. This leads you to trying to never lose again. And it leads you to looking at what a bad trade is in the completely wrong way of what a bad trade actually is. This leads you to pursuing information so that you will not feel this loss again. So every time you lose from there on out, you think that there's something wrong with your strategy. There's something wrong with the market. There's something wrong with the session, the pair, whatever it is. And that makes you go to the new strategy, the new YouTuber, the new pair to trade. Makes you switch everything up. It's the same as if you start a business and you try it out for a day or 2 or a week and you're like, oh, I haven't made any money. I'm going to try a new business. Same thing, same concept. So you start looking at a bad trade as a trade where you lost. And that is what 99% of people do as well. So if I post a story where I'm like, I lost 6K, people are going to be like, oh shit, he lost 6K. He must not be very good at trading. But they don't know what I have won. They just see that I've lost 6K over 2 trades because I risk 3K per trade. They just see I lost 6K. They don't see the bigger picture, which is what I'm about to show you. The bigger picture. This is what will take you to the next level. Trading is not about not losing. It's about winning on a longer period of time and losing along the way because it's a game of probability. And like I told you in the earlier video with the coin flip, you cannot have probability on your side if you only do 2 or 5 or 10 tosses. It's a bigger picture we're looking at here. The 1% of professional traders thinks is a good trade. It's a trade where they have followed their rules. I'm gonna get into in the last section of this video how you can figure out whether you have an edge or not. This is basically something that will give you the confidence to keep on trading and to never look at a losing trade with a broker's perspective, but looking at a losing trade with a winner's perspective. All right, so to finish this up, trading is a system-based game. Therefore, you should have process-based goals. What do I mean by this? If you have your edge, you have your strategy, your job is to execute on that strategy. Your job is not to make money. It's to execute on that strategy because you know over a longer period of time, this strategy has proven to be profitable. And that is what you should do. So a good trading day, you could have lost 2 trades, lost 6K like me. I lost 6K over the course of 2 days last week, but I still had 2 good trading days. Well, you lost 6K. How can it be good trading days? Because I followed my system. I followed my process. As soon as you switch your mindset from having profit-based goals to process-based goals, the money will start knocking. Because then you don't focus on the losing trades. You focus on the process. When you focus on the process, you're winning trades and you're losing trades, and all of your trades will not be affected by your psychology, by the way you enter the market, the fear, the doubt, the emotion that goes through you every time you look at one trade as a trade that needs to win. You can make a bad trade and still make money, but that was based out of emotions. You didn't follow your system. You can make a good trade and still lose, and that was not based out of your emotion. That was just the market and the probability playing against you. It's really simple. I'm going to show you exactly how you implement this and how you become such a cold-hearted trader that doesn't give a shit about losing 2, 3, or even 10 trades in a row. I did this over the course of the summer. I lost 10 trades in a row and I have a 65% win rate. I lost 10 trades in a row. Every average normal human being, if they lose 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, they start thinking there's something completely wrong. But I stuck the course. Let's head over to the next clip where I'm going to show you how you can implement this and actually be a cold-hearted trader that doesn't give a shit about losing money. Because that's just the name of the game. Let's go to the next one. Hey guys, I don't know how the lighting is right here because we got the skyline in the background. But this is the third mistake that people make and why they never become profitable. Let's see, get a little comfortable here. Like this. Yeah, perfect. If you look back to when you were in school, and if you're still in school for that sake, like in school you had to do presentations. And these presentations probably scared the hell out of you because you had to get up in front of the whole class and present something, and the presentations where you weren't allowed to, you know, have a paper and read from the paper were the most terrifying because you had to practice it and, well, you didn't want to fuck up. You've all probably had like really bad presentations where you haven't done your homework. We've all had ups and downs in our life, right? So maybe you're one of those kids that nailed it every time, and I'm not speaking to you. But if you tried to, you know, make presentations and you didn't do your homework good enough and you couldn't remember what you were supposed to say, and it was just terrifying. It's the exact same with trading. You are as equally scared as to how less you are prepared. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, if you aren't prepared in the market, you're scared as hell. You act out of your emotions, overtrade, you revenge trade, you micromanage your trades, like you do all the stuff that you shouldn't do, right? Because you aren't prepared. You don't have your edge. You don't have a strategy that is proven. Well, somebody else could have proven it to you, but it will never be proven unless you have proven it by yourself. You are as equally scared as to how less you're prepared, right? So what does this mean? Well, you have to prepare, of course. This is what I have right here. I can show you right there. So this is my strategy. This is the past 108, 9 something trades that I have done, which gives me a win rate of 65, 67%, something like that. And because I have this, I don't care whether I lose or not, because I know that in the long run, I am profitable. And this is where 99, 95, whatever the number, traders, they walk into the wrong direction. Because if they do this, they have their trading business plan, they have their strategy lined out, they have their rules, they test it out. If it works, you're confident in every trade you take because you know that your rules apply. If you haven't done this, you're not comfortable in any trade because you don't know whether you do something right or wrong. You can only know if you are actually right in the market over a longer period of time. If you have tested your strategy, if you have back tested it, forward tested it, whatever, you need data. And in order for you to get data, you need to sit down and you need to execute. And it's boring. It's very boring. It takes a lot of time. That's why 99% of people won't do it. And that's why it doesn't require much to be better than anyone else. All it requires is for you to sit down a couple hours every day, look at the chart, and be honest with yourself. Now, this is where most people go wrong when they try to do this, when they try to get their 100 trades and more. They're not honest with themselves. They want to have a good result. So when they test their strategy out, when they test their trades out, they start not following the rules. And when they then lose, they come up with some excuse to why they lost, so they don't have to take this trade into account. That's why back testing is very fragile, because most people are not true to themselves. Forward testing takes a longer period of time, but it's more true to yourself because you do it in real time. You should make a trading business plan, outline every single rule that applies to your strategy, your observation in the market, what you want to execute on. And you have to take these things into account. For example, what do you want to trade? What do you find interesting? How much do you want to trade? How many trades do you want to take per day? Etc, etc, etc. Everything needs to be lined out. And then you need to test it out. Not 5 trades, not 10 trades, not 15, not 20, not 30, not 40, not 50, 100 or more. Because then you can see if the probability plays within your favor. Next thing you should do is, when you have 100 trades, and you should be true to yourself with these trades, you need to look at every single one of those trades and ask yourself, have I followed my strategy? If you find a trade, or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 30 trades where you haven't followed your strategy, you throw those out in the bin. Boom, then you have 70 trades. What do you do now? You take 30 more. As soon as you have 100 trades where you have followed your strategy, you will know whether this strategy is profitable or not. And if it is not profitable, don't worry. What you need to do is you have to look at each individual trade. Yes, I know it's boring, but it's boring to become the 1%. It's boring to have a penthouse like this. It's boring to have a nice ass watch or a few of them. It's boring, I know, but it's required. The boring is required. That's why no people have it, because no people are willing to do the boring work. Now, what you do is pretty simple. You have everything, you have all the data. So you can see whether it's your risk to reward there's something wrong with, if it's the time of day, if it's the trade itself, whatever. Now, the first thing is just try to adjust your risk to reward, because you might have taken risk to reward that was too great, and 1 to 3 or whatever, 1 to 2 wasn't profitable. You lost 70% of the time and won 30%. But if you took a 1 to 1.5, you won 70% of the time and lost 30%. Yes, it can change like that. And if you do this, you will figure out whether your strategy with a different risk to reward with some different settings actually was profitable. Now, if your strategy after these 100 trades is profitable, now you can look at each individual trade and figure out how you can make it better. So you have the data, you just gotta look at the data and figure out what can you do better, what did you do wrong, what can you improve. Then suddenly you have a strategy that's bulletproof, you have the confidence, and you start looking at each trade with a cold heart because you know that trade is part of a bigger picture. You can lose 10 trades in a row and don't give a shit. If you risk $3,000 per trade, you can lose $30,000 and don't give a shit, because you know it's part of the bigger picture. This is where most people go wrong. They don't ever have a strategy where they have actually prepared themselves and figured out for themselves that their strategy works. They've heard someone else tell them that the strategy works, but that's not convincing enough to oneself. You have to figure this out. If you're not willing to put in the boring work, I'm sorry, bro, this is not for you. Go back to your regular job, go be you, be comfortable, live a regular life. But if you want something great, you have to be willing to do what most people don't want to do, which is put in the boring work. It's very simple. Test it out. You are as equally scared as to how less you are prepared. All right, this is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys can use this and become better traders. So make sure, if you want, subscribe, follow along for this journey. I'm going to dive a lot more into trading, a lot more into how I do business, a lot more into what I plan to do with my life for you guys, and how I plan to help you guys achieve better things in this world. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.